Matt Brandyberry from Ashes to New is our guest this evening on Loudwire Nights. The band's third studio album, Panic, arrives August 28th, which, by the way, is National Red Wine Day. It is also the day Martin Luther King delivered his I Have a Dream speech. Nothing to really do with anything, just random facts. Welcome, Matt. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks for having me. It sounds like a really good day, so I'm hoping we can add to the historical greatness.
Right? Doesn't it? You know what I'm curious about? There's some people who take like dates into account, and there's certain months they won't put out music. They have kind of superstitions about releasing music. Do you have any of that, whether it's recording or releasing?
No, no, I don't think that far into it. I think every day is just another day.
Okay.
And greatness can happen whenever. That's how I feel. So just shoot for the stars, right?
I love it. I love it. Let's talk about music. We've been playing Panic on the show. In the video, we get a timeline of when the song was written. So in the late 2019, everything was all good, right? And then all COVID hell broke loose and changed all the plans for you guys. Give us a sense of like what was going on behind the scenes around March when you thought you were going to be working on a video for it.
We were fortunate enough to get the record done before 2020. So we got the tracking of the album done December. So yeah, we had no idea what was getting ready to open up on us. And we were actually on tour with Skillet while we were kind of planning everything. We didn't really have an idea of what the first single was going to be. We knew that we had a record full of amazing songs. So when you do that and you have all these songs that you're such a fan of and that everyone that's on the team is involved is such a fan of, it's hard to pick a single as a good thing. Mm-hmm. But it kind of pushed back like what our process was. And then when we finally landed on it is when all hell broke loose and the tour got shut down, and we had this idea for the music video that we had to change last second. We had people quitting, not the band, not in the team, but people that were part of the video crew. We had, obviously the limitations to how many people you could have in a place at one time. Like it was all kind of just, amounting right at that time. Now the virus had become a thing, a month prior to us shooting the music video, but we never. I think as much as everybody else, we never really saw it being what it ended up becoming.
I think time actually made Panic that much more relevant, right? Do you feel like, hey, it all worked out at the end?
Yeah, I mean, in the weirdest way, right? I mean, I don't want it to work out in our favor because of something bad happening to lots of other people. Like I never really look at it that way.
Right.
I guess I'm grateful to have it go together the way that it is. I guess, like I said, in the weirdest way. The song was really just written about anxiety in general, really. And I think that the way that I view the world right now and the way that a lot of other people view the world right now is that this has kind of been escalating. Like it's just been a snowball out of control, right? I mean, I think that 2020 is just the catalyst of everything that's been happening for the last several decades, honestly. And that's what we write about as a band, and it just so happened to fit even more perfectly together than anything we've ever written before.
Yeah, that sounded totally jerky. So are you glad that Panic makes a lot of sense since COVID is ravishing the world? That is totally not how I meant it. But yes, you said it right. Okay. What was the last thing that actually made you insanely panicky?
Oh, you mean just in general for me?
Yeah.
So, okay. We just built a house.
Congratulations.
And I don't know. Thank you. Yeah. So we've kind of been moving for like the last year and a half. We've been in 3 different houses for the last year and a half. So we decided to finally just build one. We're like, you know what? We're going to build a house and we're going to call it a day, and we're going to move in and we're going to call it our forever home. And anything we do outside of that, we're going to go and we're going to, get a vacation home if we can, or, we're just going to buy toys or whatever. But this is our house. Well, with every house comes issues, even the brand new ones. So the last panic mode I had was just our driveway in this brand new house is falling apart.
Oh, no.
So it's a lot of anxiety that builds up trying to deal with people that are a little less than cooperative to get some of the issues taken care of. But outside of that, I think that, I'm one of those people that I've been a worst case scenario person my entire life. I've always liked to say that it was I'm a realist. That's the way that I look at it. People were like, oh, you're pessimistic. Or I was like, no, I'm optimistic about a lot, but I'm realistic about everything. I think that's kind of, where the general anxiety thing comes into play in my life is that I take a lot of stuff to the extreme. And when I take it to the extreme, like I really just start thinking about all the bad things that could possibly happen rather than all the good things. And because the world has kind of been in that mode right now, and I see that on social media all the time, I've really, honestly, over the course of the last several months, been able to change that about myself and go, you know what, like the sky really isn't falling down. And there are a lot of things that we can be grateful for rather than all the things that we're not grateful for. So I really, in the weirdest way, been able to take all the negative energy and manifest it into something positive.
I saw that you had a moment on social media, speaking of negativity, social media. Have you ever thought of completely disengaging? Because you sounded like you hit your max there. I don't know what you came across or what you read, but something pissed you off.
That happens every now and then. I'm not sure which instance you're talking about, but I do disengage, and I think it's healthy for all of us to disengage. I was saying to my wife, we're really truly the last generation of like the hybrids, really like kind of coming before all the technology and being around during the height of what the technology is now, and kind of understanding both worlds. So for me, I just I really feel that it is healthy to disengage sometimes, because we do just end up too far down that rabbit hole. And when we get down that rabbit hole, depending on what it is, if it's something that we don't necessarily agree with, rather than trying to look at it from all angles, we just get angry. And I think people just continue to spread hate that way. And I don't want to be one of those individuals. I think that we all need to come together and really just kind of learn from our mistakes. That's what I've tried to do my entire life. So yeah, I mean, disengaging, sometimes I'll put it out there in a very vague way to let people know that they're not alone. I'll do that on social media. I won't really dive into what has made me so mad. That's probably why you're like, something made you mad.
Yeah,
you
didn't say what it was. You're just like, I'm over it. I hate that. I was like, okay, something happened.
Right. Well, I think there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry and the music industry who have made big names for themselves by being able to go out and speak their mind on something. But I don't want to alienate people, because I think that when you talk about a subject, regardless of what it is, if it's what's going on right now in the media, if it's what's happening in pop culture, when you talk directly about a subject in the way that you feel about it, in the way that your opinion is formed about it, you may not be able to get everything out all at once, and then questions come in and people misunderstand it and it's misconstrued. It's kind of like when you send someone a text message and you think about it before you hit the send button. You're like, did I get everything across in there? Do I add an emoji? How do I make this come off as it's sincere? And it's not. So I don't really want to do that on social media. Now, I don't have a problem talking face to face with someone about how I feel about things and being able to open a dialogue and hear people from every different angle. But I don't want to go out and influence people if I don't think that the way that I'm influencing them is 100% readable from their end.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I'm curious, what was it like singing a song for you on the record for the first time? And what was it about that particular song that made your singing voice a good fit as opposed to your usual rapping?
Well, they've been pushing. We worked with two different producers on this record, and back and forth between the two of them, they'd been pushing the entire album for me to sing. And I'm always the person who's always like, no, you don't need that. You don't want me to do that. That doesn't need to happen. And they're like, no, like, all the songs that From Ashes to New is really done. You've had like these aggressive singing parts on them. Like, why don't you do something that's a little dialed back and sing something a little different? So finally they talked me into it, and I was like, okay. I was like, but I want to do it a very specific way. And they're like, okay, well, how do you want to do it? And I was like, I want to take like the same approach that MGK has been taking recently with his stuff. Like I still want to kind of have it a little rappy. I want to use a little bit more electronics with it. Like I don't want it to be like, I sound really country, like I'm kind of, I could probably be a country singer if I wanted to. So I've got this like twang and drawl to my voice. I think that's where I'm from. So I wanted to try and make it sound as urban as possible without sounding like Jason Aldean.
Wait, aren't you from Pennsylvania?
I am. It's weird, though, because I get it all the time. People are always like, why? Where are you at in the South? Like, where are you from in the South? I'm like, I'm not. I'm from Pennsylvania.
That's weird.
They're like, weird. Like, what is your accent from? And I grew up in Amish country, so a lot of people I know they'll say like yous, and I mean, even west here it's yins, and there's just weird. It's just a weird accent from around here with a mix of the Pennsylvania Dutch and just people outside of that culture.
Have you ever been to a Rumspringa party?
I have not. No.
They
I
look
talk
crazy.
about that all the time, though, because people ask, they're like, "You're from Lancaster. Are you Amish?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm on Rumspringa. It's all good. Like, I've been on Rumspringa indefinitely."
Oh my God. Okay. Are there any other additional firsts for you or for the band on the upcoming Panic album?
Yeah. Lance, our guitarist, is singing quite a bit. He's doing like a lot of B parts. So Danny will do like the main, and then it'll overlap, and Lance will do a lot of the B stuff. I think we had Matty, our drummer, rather, he tracked guitar for a song, which was really cool. We kind of forced him into doing that. We're like, "No, dude, you're going to track guitar for this song." So, we just had fun with it. And I think that's something that, we try and do, but it really showed up on this album. And I think that the sincerity of how we felt during this process really shows through, the music itself. So I think there's a ton of firsts. We recorded it in LA. That was something we haven't done before. We've always done it local. We produced it outside of, the band and the core producers we've always used. We did some writing outside of the band. We did a lot of different stuff for this record. We took a different lyrical approach. We took a different subject matter approach. So it's definitely a 180, but still keeping the integrity of what we've always done.
Someone tweeted for the band, I don't know who handles your socials, that you all got together for the first time in months to shoot a video. What can you tell us about that? Were there any precautions taken? I know I recently interviewed someone. They're like, we all took COVID tests and we quarantined. So tell us about how that happened. And it looks like it's bloody and set in a classroom, which at a glance screams controversial, but I don't know. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So it was the first time we've been together completely as a band since March. We didn't actually do anything except for hang. Like we're not actually in this music video. This is the first music video that we're doing that we're actually not in, and that was all purposely done. It is definitely bloody. Lance has been handling a lot of that. I think if you're probably talking about Twitter, that was Lance. Yeah, and I was actually recently tested for COVID and it came back negative, so I was good to go. But yeah, I mean, there was limitations. Obviously, we have to abide by, what the limitations are in our area. And I think that where we were at, it was like maximum of 25 people. And we had way less than that. So, if anyone out there is listening, we were good.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away too much from the music video. All I know is, all I can tell you is it's about a song called Bulletproof. And the song really talks about like violence in our culture. And it talks about it from multiple different angles. It talks about how, there's violence in our school systems. It talks about how there's violence in our media. It talks about how there's a lot of negativity. It talks about what it feels like to be in the position to have that put in front of you every day. It talks about not listening to the people who may have just needed the ear lended to them rather than being told how to live their lives. So it really is different than anything that we've ever done. We haven't really ventured down that road before, but it just talks about violence in our culture.
I entered the Panic Room via the From Ashes to New website, and that seems like a pretty original concept. Tell us about it. It's like Tumblr, but all about you guys, sort of. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that, and obviously I'm on a lot of band websites.
Well, the cool thing about From Ashes to New fans is they've become more like family because we interact with them so much. So there's a lot of fans that really kind of know us. They've done VIP or they've been out the show since we started coming up from the bottom, and they've supported us from the very beginning. So like we know a lot of these people, but we wanted to give more fans the ability to be able to interact with those fans, and not only that, be able to interact with members when we pop in and out. But it's a Discord server, and in that Discord server there's actually different things. Like you can kind of just be in the general chat and just kind of chat with everybody, and then there's like another part of it is kind of like a support group where you go in and you can talk about the thing that's causing your anxiety, the thing that's causing your panic, and you can put that in there, and you can feel safe that the people in there are going to really take that seriously and try and help you with that issue. And, like I said, the band members pop in from time to time. Lance is in there quite a bit. And if there's anything in there that really kind of is a bad, it's making people feel bad about what they're putting out there, then he makes sure he monitors that and gets rid of it. So, but we haven't really had that issue because everyone's been so awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. There's like a meme section. I'm like, what is this? Their own little world on their website. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
How do you normally celebrate the release of a record? I mean, what did you do for 1? What did you do for 2? And what's the plan for 3? Maybe a driveway party. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I don't even know. I honestly, like, the first one we did a CD release in New York. Man, that feels like forever ago. Right. The second record, I think we did a CD release locally. I believe that's what we did. That was pretty wild. We did a show, and and bands usually release albums on the heels of tours, and we don't have the ability to be able to do that right now. So everything's really different. I think that it's just going to drop, and I don't know. I really don't. We don't have any plans. Like, we've talked about stuff, but the day is approaching so quickly that I'm not sure that we're going to have any plans in place outside of just sit and watch the fans react to it.
Right. I mean, you can maybe do something online, I guess, if you wanted to. That seems to be.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing we were thinking. Maybe like we would do something where fans could come in and, we could talk about each song, play each song, or we could give them the ability to be able to buy the record while we're in there kind of hanging or something like that. We haven't really solidified anything. There's just been a lot of ideas. We've just been in the mode of give our fans music, let them do something, let them have something to be happy about right now. And there's not a lot of people happy about a lot of things.
No, not a lot to be happy about. I take it. I mean, I always ask. I know the answer, but you haven't heard anything about touring. What are you being told? Is there any optimism? Somebody said something about Rob Flynn. Machine Head said, "I don't think anything's going to go back to normal for like 4 years." I'm like, don't even put that out in the universe. Are you hearing anything at all? Anything promising?
Well, if Rob Flynn was right, that would destroy a lot of things. So let's just hope to God Rob Flynn is completely off base with his.
Seriously.
We're going to call it opinion. That's an opinion piece right there. Yeah, I mean, there are places that are open right now. There's different states that haven't had the same rules and shutdowns than some of the other ones. So the industry's not 100% shut down. It's just not really accessible for touring, nor is it really accessible for larger acts right now. But from what, my manager tries to stay as optimistic as possible. And, he's always saying, we're going to go back this fall. And I mean, I don't know that it's that close with the touring world and being able to put together the tours that fans are used to being able to attend. But I think that there's an opportunity for bands to play in their collective areas under the limitations and guidelines. It's a lot different. It's not what we're going to be used to. They're going to be dialed back. They're going to be scaled down, and they're going to be small. But I mean, in the event that we want to get out there and do something, there are some opportunities there. Will we be doing anything yet this year? I don't know. I mean, we're hopeful that we will. But I think that there's a real good chance for spring of 2021 if nothing happens, at the end of this year.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I saw you have some one-off dates coming up in like a month. I'm like, I don't know about some like radio station gigs, stuff like that. I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, they keep shifting. Those are moving targets. So it's, and I feel bad for the fans too, because they get excited. It's like moving Christmas. It's like, Christmas is December 25th this year. Oh, sweetie, it's January 3rd this year, and it just keeps moving,
Something to finally look forward to, and then it gets taken away. It makes sense.
Yep, exactly.
This is our last absolutely ridiculous question. I've been asking musicians to pick our topic. Every week we have a topic on the show. So think about, what do you think listeners would get excited to call in and leave their opinion on or talk about?
I mean, I think the obvious thing right now is everything that's happening in the mainstream media between obviously the coronavirus and all of the other stuff politically that's out there, honestly.
Oh, I don't even go down that.
That's what people would really like to leave their opinion on.
I know, but it's going to be so like angry and divisive. Like, I don't really get into that stuff because I know people have such strong opinions, and why raise somebody's blood pressure when we don't have to?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Especially when heart disease is the leading killer in our country. We should be working to lower people's blood pressure right now.
Yeah, I talk about like puppies, rainbows. Tell me what you had for dinner. Like, I don't even want to go down that. Not that bad, but I don't want to go down that route. But okay, noted. I'll note that as your topic option.
I think that I would love for people to talk about the state of rock music, though. I think that's another big thing. Like, I think that's a good one. That if that question was put out there, like, hey, how do you view rock and metal music right now in the year 2020? Like, what is your opinion on it? I think that people would really weigh in on that. I think that there's a very diverse opinion. I feel like there is a very divided opinion in the rock world right now, and I think that we need to really kind of come together as a community in the rock community and bring it back to life. And I'll leave you with this little piece. Have you seen the movie Trolls World Tour?
Can't say I have.
Okay, so my son is 12. So I'll preface it with that.
I know.
My son's 12 and he wanted to watch it. Okay, so I hadn't seen it either, and we've been sitting at home forever, and we've run out of things to watch. Right, like we don't have any movies to watch. We finished pretty much every cool series on Netflix. Yeah. So we're like, okay, let's try this movie. So we put it on, and really, it is just kind of like the entire time it's just bashing rock music. Like it's like talking about how basically how everything needs to be rock music. Nothing can be anything outside of rock music. And it's kind of like this one troll is like this rock troll, and she wants to take over all the other troll villages and like steal all their capabilities of music and turn it all into rock. So I saw that and I'm like, man, like, is that really the way that the rock community is viewed? Like that's how like the mainstream angle on the rock community is taken. So again, like I said, I think that if we put it out there for people to kind of leave their opinion on what they think the state of the rock world is right now, that would be a huge discussion.
All right, let's do it. We'll see if anybody mentions trolls along the way, and then we could bring it all full circle if they do. I don't know. That's a weird opinion on this. Like, what are we trying to take over? We're so in our own world, I feel. That's very strange. But now I'm slightly curious about the movie.
You have to watch it to understand it. I can't, in 30 seconds, I can't give you the whole synopsis of the movie because it's kind of moving along quite rapidly. But if you take the time to actually sit down and watch
Trolls
Tour,
is moving
you'll
along
understand
rapidly.
what I was saying.
Oh my God, Trolls moves fast. Okay, I like it. All right, so Panic is the name of the upcoming record, By From Ashes to New. It's available everywhere for your listening pleasure, August 28th. We've been playing the title track on this show often. I'm sure you've heard it. Thank you again, Matt, for your time. I hope everything comes together nicely with your home. Continued success and health to you and yours.
Thank you so much. And same to you. We're going to get through this thing, and we're going to have smiles on the other side. I know it. There's a hippie in me again. So I'm going to take my shoes off and my socks off and go walk outside for a little bit.